Once upon a time, in the beautiful kingdom of Ikwuama, there was a colourful village called Ruru. The fields there were always full of corn, yams, and juicy fruits. Children played happily, and the people smiled as they worked. But beneath the joy and peace, there lived a man whose name made people lower their voices and avoid his path, Chief Ogugu. Chief Ogugu was the most powerful man in the village. He had 2 massive farms, many servants, and the loudest voice in town. When he spoke, everyone listened, not because they loved him, but because they feared him. He was harsh, unforgiving, and cruel. No one dared to question him, not even the other village elders. He had a wife named Mama Ojugo, and together they had 7 beautiful daughters: Ziba, Ikwuama, Muna, Ebele, Zara, Kachi, and Ogechi. Each girl had beauty like the sunrise, but hearts as cold as night. They laughed at the poor, lied to the elders, and caused trouble wherever they went. The villagers whispered, "They're just like their father." But Chief Ogugu also had one son, Tariro, a boy of 19. Tariro was nothing like his father. He was gentle and kind, with a heart full of compassion. He helped old women carry firewood and gave food to hungry children, but no one dared to get close to him. People feared his bloodline. They feared his father's shadow. One sunny morning, Chief Ogugu's daughters went to fetch water at the village stream. The stream was a peaceful place where girls sang and talked while filling their clay pots. But when Ziba and Ikwuama arrived, the air turned heavy. 2 girls from another family, Lindawe and her younger sister Noma, were already there, filling their pots quietly. Ziba walked past them with a proud smile and whispered something to Ikwuama. Then suddenly, with one sharp push, she knocked Noma's pot off her head. It hit the ground and shattered, spilling water everywhere. "Why did you do that?" Noma cried. "Because I can," Ikwuama laughed, placing her hands on her hips. Lindawe stepped forward to defend her sister, and the girls exchanged angry words. In the scuffle, Ikwuama slipped on a wet rock and scratched her arm. Furious and embarrassed, the chief's daughters ran home, crying as if they had been attacked. When they reached home, they ran straight to Mama Ojugo, tears in their eyes. "Mama, they hurt us at the stream," Ziba sobbed. "They pushed us. Look at Ikwuama's arm." Mama Ojugo gasped. "Who did this?" "Lindawe and Noma," Ikwuama lied. "They were jealous of us." Without asking questions, Mama Ojugo boiled with anger. That evening, she stormed into Mama Lindawe's small compound without knocking. She grabbed Lindawe roughly by the arm. "How dare you hurt my daughters?" she shouted. "Mama, it wasn't like that," Lindawe cried. But Mama Ojugo didn't listen. She began to beat Lindawe. When Mama Lindawe tried to protect her daughter, she was struck too. The villagers watched in silence, afraid to step in. Everyone feared the wrath of the chief's household. That night, Mama Lindawe sat on the floor of her small hut, bleeding and bruised. She held her daughters close and whispered, "We must stay away from them, my children. They have no hearts, but don't lose yours." The next morning, Chief Ogugu found out that his wife had fought with Mama Lindawe and her daughters. His pride boiled with anger. In his eyes, no one, not even a poor widow, had the right to touch his family. Without warning, he stormed out of his compound like a lion awakened from sleep. His long walking stick struck the ground with power as he marched across the village. He reached Mama Lindawe's small mud house and kicked the door open. Inside, the little family sat eating boiled yam in silence. When they saw him, their faces went pale. "Come out," he roared. Lindawe and Noma froze. Mama Lindawe stood up to shield them. "What do you want from us?" she asked, her voice shaking. Chief Ogugu didn't answer. He dragged the mother and her daughters outside. The villagers peeked from their huts, too afraid to interfere. "Hold them," he ordered his guards. He tied the girls to a tree and began flogging them with a leather whip. The girls screamed in pain, tears running down their cheeks. But Chief Ogugu didn't stop. His eyes burned with hate. "Let this be a warning," he shouted. "No one touches my family and walks free." After a while, he ordered his men to stop whipping the girls. But then he turned to Mama Lindiwe. He beat her even harder. She cried out, but the pain was too much. Her knees buckled and she collapsed. Only then did Chief Ogugu throw down the whip and leave, as if nothing had happened. That night, the village was silent. The stars above looked down on the earth, ashamed. By morning, the sad news spread like fire. Mama Lindiwe had died. People gathered outside her house. Her body lay still, wrapped in a cloth, while Lindiwe and Noma cried beside her. "She died trying to protect us," Noma whispered, holding her sister's hand tightly. The villagers mourned, but fear kept them quiet. No one blamed Chief Ogugu, at least not openly. They whispered in their homes, afraid that if they spoke, they'd be next. But one heart in the village could no longer stay silent. Tariro, the chief's only son. He had heard what happened. He felt shame deep in his chest, like a fire that wouldn't go out. That afternoon, while the sun hung low in the sky, Tariro walked to Lindiwe and Noma's house. He found them sitting on a log outside, faces swollen from crying. "Lindiwe, Noma," he said softly. The girls looked up and stiffened. They knew who he was. "What do you want?" Lindiwe asked sharply, her voice still full of pain. Tariro stepped closer, but slowly. "I came to say I'm sorry." Noma glared at him. "Your father killed our mother. You think sorry is enough?" "I don't," Tariro said, "but I couldn't stay quiet. I'm not like him. I want to help if you'll let me." There was silence for a moment. Then Lindiwe spoke, her voice quiet. "You're not like them, are you?" "No," Tariro replied, "and I don't want to be." He sat down beside them. That evening, the three sat under a mango tree, sharing stories, not of pain, but of hopes and dreams. Something gentle passed between them, trust, like a river beginning to flow after a long drought. And for the first time in many days, the wind in Ruru village carried not fear, but the sound of healing beginning. Days passed, but the memory of Mama Lindiwe's death still hung over the village like a dark cloud. People avoided Chief Ogugu's compound, and no one dared walk past it without looking over their shoulder. His 7 daughters, once admired for their beauty, were now feared for their arrogance. And though many young men had once dreamed of marrying them, now no one dared to try. But there was one bold young man named Ikwuama, son of a wealthy trader from the nearby hills. He had heard of Ziba, the eldest daughter, and was curious. He believed that maybe, just maybe, her beauty meant she had a soft heart too. So one morning, dressed in his finest wrapper, he walked up to Chief Ogugu's compound with respectful gifts, baskets of plantain, jars of honey, and kola nuts. He bowed low and said, "Great Chief Ogugu, I come in peace. I wish to ask for your daughter Ziba's hand in marriage." Chief Ogugu's eyes narrowed. "You think I would give my daughter to someone like you? You are not worthy." Ikwuama tried to speak again, but Chief Ogugu banged his staff on the ground. "Take this fool and flog him," he roared. Before Ikwuama could even step back, Chief Ogugu's guards grabbed him and beat him until he could no longer stand. Then they threw him outside the gate like an old sack. The news of the beating spread fast. The villagers were horrified. Even the bravest of men now stayed far away from Ogugu's daughters. And the girls, too proud to admit their loneliness, grew bitter. They mocked others but cried in secret. Meanwhile, Tariro watched it all, and something inside him broke. He could no longer live in the house of a monster. He couldn't keep pretending. One quiet night, he sat on a rock under the moon and whispered, "I don't belong here. I want peace. I want to live with kindness." The next morning, Tariro told his father he was leaving. Chief Ogugu stared at him with cold eyes. "Go if you wish, but remember, no one runs from my shadow." Tariro packed a small bag, tucked in his old necklace from childhood, and said goodbye to the village. Silently, he walked through the bush paths toward the borderlands, where a friend would shelter him. But unknown to him, Chief Ogugu had placed a charm at his doorway, a dark one meant to trap whoever crossed. Somehow, Tariro stepped over it without harm. When the chief's servants found the charm shattered and the boy gone, Ogugu's fury grew wild. "How dare he escape me?" he shouted. His pride wounded, Chief Ogugu visited a secret herbalist at the edge of the forest. The hut smelled of ash and smoke. The herbalist had old eyes and a knowing grin. "I want my son back," Ogugu growled. "Bring me something of his," the herbalist said. Ogugu pulled out the old necklace Tariro had forgotten years ago. The herbalist nodded. "This will do." He whispered over fire and herbs, mixing dark powder in a carved figure. "Keep this close. If your will is strong, the charm will call him home." Ogugu returned home, gripping the charm tightly. He believed he would win. But while he prepared spells and threats, Tariro was already far away, learning kindness and freedom in a place where the sun felt warm again, not dangerous. The villagers saw the chief's desperation grow. He threatened anyone who spoke well of his son. But deep inside, even the children of Ruru began to whisper something bold. Maybe kindness is stronger than fear after all. Not long after Tariro's escape, Mama Ojiugo, the chief's wife, fell terribly ill. Her body weakened day by day, and her once loud voice became no more than a whisper. She lay on her sleeping mat, unable to sit, barely able to eat. Her face had lost its color, and her strength slipped away like water through dry fingers. But her daughters did not care. "Why are you so weak?" sneered Ziba, crossing her arms. "You're making this house smell like death," muttered Ikwuama, covering her nose. Even when she cried out for help, none of the girls answered. They were too proud, too hardened, too cold. Mama Ojiugo, once the shield of the house, was now just a burden in their eyes. Chief Ogugu, desperate to have his strong wife back, carried her to the village herbalist. The old healer looked at her quietly, then shook his head. "She is past saving," he said. "You must prepare for what comes next." Chief Ogugu was furious. "You are useless," he yelled, but deep inside he knew the truth. His wife was dying. That night, in the quiet of their home, Chief Ogugu spoke to his daughters. "She can't do anything anymore," he said coldly. "She's only suffering. We must give her peace." The daughters nodded slowly. "Yes, father," Ziba replied. "Let's end her pain." "If she dies, no one will miss her," said Ikwuama. So they agreed to poison her with a deadly herb from the forest. Ziba went to pick the leaf, while Ogugu prepared the mixture. They stirred it in a pot, the smell sharp and bitter like rot. But as the mixture boiled, something strange happened. From Mama Ojiugo's room came a scream, sharp and wild, then her footsteps, then her voice. "Stop!" She stood at the doorway, her eyes wide and glowing. She had been possessed, not by illness, but by the spirit of Mama Lindiwe. Suddenly, the air grew cold. Shadows flickered, the pot cracked and spilled its contents. Then came the spirit itself, Lindiwe's soul, bright and burning like white fire. Her voice echoed like drums in a cave. "You will pay for your wickedness." She cracked a glowing whip in the air. It struck Chief Ogugu's chest. He screamed and fell to the floor, clutching his heart. The daughters screamed and scattered. Mama Ojiugo, still possessed, grabbed Ogugu's robe and dragged him to the village square. "Let them see the truth," the spirit roared. The villagers gathered. Children, elders, and even the king came out. They watched as Chief Ogugu, once feared by all, was forced to confess. "I killed Mama Lindiwe," he cried. "I tried to curse my own son. I planned to poison my wife. I used charms on my daughters, and none of them are mine." Gasps spread through the crowd. Chief Ogugu had finally told the truth. The king stepped forward. "For your evil, you are banished. You and your wife will leave Ikwuama forever." Just then, Tariro returned, his heart full of sorrow. "My sisters, they were controlled. They can still change," he said bravely. "Let them stay. I will guide them." The king, moved by his heart, agreed, and so Chief Ogugu and Mama Ojugo were exiled, their power gone forever. But Tariro stayed. He helped his sisters heal, he taught them kindness, and slowly the villagers forgave. The air in Ruru grew sweet again, children laughed, songs returned. And the story of the cruel chief, the boy with a kind heart, and the spirit who demanded justice was told for generations. Because in the end, goodness did not run away, it stood, it forgave, and it healed.